The massive ships appeared in Earth's sky without warning. They were huge, metallic, and unlike anything humans had ever built. People around the world stopped and stared up at them. Some were afraid, but many felt a strange excitement. After all these years of wondering, the answer was clear. Humans were not alone in the universe. The world's leaders met quickly to decide what to do. They chose Admiral William Carter to speak for Earth. He was calm, smart, and good with words. Dr. Olivia Blackwell would go with him. She had spent years studying the strange signals from space and had figured out how to understand some of the alien math patterns. Together, they would meet the visitors at the space station above Earth. The aliens called themselves Zilarians. They had blue-tinted skin and eyes that seemed too large for their faces. Their leader was named Zephyr. He spoke in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "We come as friends," Zephyr said through the translation device Dr. Blackwell had created. "The Galactic Council wishes to welcome humans to the community of spacefaring races." Admiral Carter smiled and offered a careful handshake, which the alien copied after watching him. "Earth is honored by your visit. We have much to learn from each other." For 2 days, the talks went well. The Zilarians spoke of amazing technologies they could share. They described planets with life forms humans could barely imagine. They talked about trade routes that crossed the stars. Carter listened carefully and asked good questions. Dr. Blackwell took notes and adjusted her translation. Device when needed. On the 3rd day, everything changed. Zephyr brought up the subject of Earth's oceans. "As is customary, we request access to your water reserves," the alien said. "Our ships require fresh water for fuel processing." Carter frowned. "How much water would you need?" Zephyr made a gesture with his long fingers. "Only a small amount. What you might call several million gallons." The room grew quiet. Carter looked at his advisors, then back at the alien. "I'm sorry, but I can't agree to that without discussing it with Earth's governments. Water is precious to us." The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "This is merely a formality. All new races provide resources as a sign of good faith." Dr. Blackwell noticed something in the alien's voice pattern, a change in tone that her device wasn't translating. She leaned toward Carter. "Sir, I think they're getting frustrated. In their culture, this might be just a normal greeting gift." Major Greg Daniels, one of the military advisors, shook his head. "We can't just give away our resources based on their say-so. For all we know, this could be the real reason they came." "Here," Carter nodded. He turned back to Zephyr. "We value your friendship, but we need time to consider this request. On Earth, natural resources belong to all people, not just to leaders. I need to consult with others." The alien's skin seemed to darken slightly. "This is unexpected. Perhaps we have misjudged your readiness for galactic citizenship." Without another word, Zephyr stood and left the room. The other aliens followed. That night, Dr. Blackwell couldn't sleep. She paced in her small room on the space station, reviewing her notes. Something was wrong with how the meeting had ended. She had missed something important in the translation. Her computer beeped with an alert. 3 small Zilarian ships had broken away from the main fleet. They were heading toward Earth's surface. She called Admiral Carter immediately. "Sir, we have a problem." Carter was already awake, staring at the same alert on his screen. "They're heading for the Pacific Ocean. Defense Command wants to know if they should intercept." "Let me try to contact them first," Blackwell said. She sent a message using the communication system they had established. No response came back. The 3 alien ships descended quickly toward the ocean. They hovered just above the water, then extended long tubes into the sea. They were taking water without permission. Admiral Carter's face was grim on the video screen. "This violates our agreement." They didn't even wait for an answer. "In their culture, this might not be seen as stealing," Blackwell argued. "Remember how they called it a formality? They might think the negotiations were complete." Carter shook his head. "Intention doesn't matter now. They're taking Earth resources without permission. I have to respond," he gave the order. Earth defense ships moved to intercept the aliens. They broadcast warnings in multiple languages, including the mathematical patterns Dr. Blackwell had developed. The Zilarian ships ignored them. They continued drawing up massive amounts of ocean water. "Final warning," the Earth Defense Commander said. When there was no response, he gave the order to fire warning shots. Something went wrong. Either the Earth weapons were stronger than expected, or the Zilarian ships were less protected while gathering water. One of the warning shots hit a critical system on the smallest alien vessel. There was a flash of bright blue light. The ship dropped from the sky and crashed into the ocean. The other two Zilarian ships immediately retreated. Racing back toward their fleet, up on the space station, alarms were blaring. Admiral Carter watched in horror as the main Zilarian ships powered up what appeared to be weapon systems. Dr. Blackwell frantically tried to establish communication. "Please," she said into her transmitter, "this was a misunderstanding. We can still talk." For several tense minutes, it seemed like the Zilarians might attack. Then, without warning, their ships began to move away from Earth. They accelerated quickly, soon becoming just points of light in the distance they left behind. The wreckage of their fallen ship and a message, broadcast once in perfect English. "The Galactic Council will be informed of this incident. Humanity has failed its first contact evaluation." Admiral Carter stared out the window of the space station at the Earth below. "What have we done?" he whispered. Dr. Blackwell stood beside him. "We defended ourselves. But I think we also missed our chance to join something amazing." "Will they come back?" asked one of the younger officers. "Yes," Carter said firmly. "And next time they won't come as friends." Down on Earth, scientists were already gathering at the crash site. The fallen alien ship would provide valuable technology. Humanity would need every advantage for what was coming. The first contact with aliens had failed. The road ahead would be difficult, but humans were good at facing challenges. They would prepare, adapt, and find a way to survive. It was what humans had always done best. 6 months passed since the aliens left Earth. The world had changed in many ways. Countries that once fought each other now worked together. The fallen alien ship had given humans new ideas and new technology. Colonel Eric Summers led a team of engineers who studied the strange metal and machines from the crashed Zilarian vessel. "This material is unlike anything we've seen before," Eric said as he held up a piece of the ship's hull. "It's lighter than aluminum, but stronger than steel." His team worked day and night in a secret base under the Rocky Mountains. They had already learned how to copy some of the alien technology. Earth's first space defense ships were being built using these new ideas. Meanwhile, Dr. Olivia Blackwell hadn't given up hope for peace. She believed that better communication could have prevented the disaster. Her team worked on improving the translation system, trying to understand not just the words but the culture behind them. "The Zilarians think differently than we do," she explained to a room full of world leaders. To them, asking for water wasn't stealing. It was like shaking hands. "We need to understand these differences if we ever talk to them again." Some people listened to her. Others didn't care anymore. They just wanted to be ready if the aliens came back to fight. President Lavra Martinez called for a meeting of the World Defense Council. Admiral Carter was there, along with Colonel Summers, Dr. Blackwell, and leaders from many countries. "We need to be prepared for their return," President Martinez said. "But we should also be ready to talk peace if possible." Before they could decide on a plan, a message came in from the space monitoring station. More alien ships had appeared near Jupiter. These were different from the Zilarian vessels. They were smaller and shaped like smooth river stones. "They're requesting communication," said the officer who brought the news. "They say they come from the Galactic Council but are not Zilarians." President Martinez looked at Admiral Carter. "What do you think?" "We should hear what they have to say," Carter replied. "But we should be careful." This time, the meeting place was different. Humans had built a new space station just for diplomatic talks. It orbited Earth at a safe distance. If something went wrong, Earth would have time to respond. The new aliens called themselves the Krell. Their ambassador's name was Krellvox. He looked nothing like the Zilarians. His skin was green-gray, and he had 4 eyes that blinked in pairs. "I bring greetings from the Galactic Council," Krelvox said through a translator. "We wish to resolve the unfortunate misunderstanding with the Zellerian delegation." President Martinez attended the talks in person to show how important they were. "We welcome the chance to start again," she said. "Earth wants peaceful relations with other worlds." For 3 days, the talks went well. Krelvox explained that the Galactic Council included many different alien races. The Zellerians were just one member. He said the council wanted to invite humans to join them. "Your species has great potential," he told them. "We can help you develop technology, explore space, and solve problems like disease and hunger." It all sounded good, maybe too good. Nathan Miller, an intelligence officer with a suspicious mind, decided to check something. While the talks continued, he used Earth's new detection systems to scan the alien ships. He found strange signals being sent between the alien fleet and several places on Earth. Nathan brought this information to President Martinez during a break in the talks. "They're sending messages to hidden devices all over our planet," he explained, showing her a map with blinking red dots. "These aren't new signals. Based on the pattern, these devices have been here for months, maybe years before the Zellerians ever showed themselves." President Martinez was angry when she returned to the meeting room. She confronted Krelvox directly. "Why are there alien monitoring devices on our planet? How long have you been watching us without our knowledge?" The alien didn't seem surprised by the question. "This is standard procedure for all potential new members," he said calmly. "We study species before making contact. How else would we know if you were ready to join the galactic community?" Dr. Blackwell tried to explain the human perspective. "On our world, watching someone without their knowledge is considered a violation of privacy. It breaks trust." Krelvox's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Interesting. Most young races appreciate our thorough evaluation process. It is for your own protection. The galaxy can be dangerous." "Those devices must be removed immediately," President Martinez demanded. "I'm afraid that's not possible," Krelvox replied. "Observation protocols are required by council law. All member races are monitored to some degree." The room grew quiet. Admiral Carter asked, "Are you saying that even as members of this council we would still be watched?" "Of course," said Krelvox. "New species require guidance. You would have a probationary period of several hundred years before gaining full rights within the council." Colonel Summers spoke up for the first time. "So we wouldn't be equals. We'd be like children, watched and controlled until you decide we've grown up enough." "A crude but essentially accurate description," the alien admitted. "Your species is still very young. You have much to learn." President Martinez stood up. "Thank you for your honesty, Ambassador. Earth needs time to consider your offer." That night, the Earth leaders held an emergency meeting. They discussed what they had learned about the Galactic Council. "They've been spying on us for years," Nathan Miller said. "Who knows what else they've done without our knowledge? But think about what we could learn from them," argued Dr. Blackwell. "They have technology that could help millions of people." "At what cost?" asked Colonel Summers. "Our freedom? Our right to choose our own path?" After hours of debate, they reached a decision. The next morning, President Martinez delivered Earth's answer to Krelvox. "Earth appreciates the Council's interest in our world," she said firmly. "However, we cannot accept membership under these conditions. We ask that all monitoring devices be removed from our planet. Earth wishes to develop at its own pace without outside control." Krelvox seemed genuinely surprised. "This response is most unusual. I should warn you that races who reject council membership are considered isolated. You would receive no protection or benefits." "We understand," said President Martinez. "That is our choice." The alien stood to leave. "The council will be informed of your decision. A formal response will follow." "I must say, in all my years as a diplomat, I have never seen a young race reject guidance so firmly. Perhaps you are not yet mature enough for galactic citizenship after all." As the alien delegation left the station, Admiral Carter watched their ships move away. What happens now? He asked. Now, said President Martinez, we prepare for whatever comes next. The world held its breath after the aliens left. Everyone expected some kind of punishment from the Galactic Council. Would they attack? Would they force Earth to join them? Days passed, then weeks, but nothing happened. The silence was almost worse than an attack. Then one day, Director Catherine Powell called a secret meeting. She was the head of the new Terrestrial Defense Initiative, a group created to protect Earth from alien threats. All the key people were there: Admiral Carter, Colonel Summers, Dr. Blackwell, and Nathan Miller. We have a plan, Director Powell said. We call it Operation Ghost Protocol. She explained that Earth would go silent. They would stop all radio signals to space. They would hide their technology from alien sensors. They would prepare in secret. If they can't see what we're doing, they can't stop us, she said. We need time to study the alien technology and get stronger. Not everyone liked the idea. Dr. Blackwell worried that cutting off communication might make things worse. What if they think we're planning to attack them? She asked. Director Powell had a simple answer. We'll make it look like we're just living normal lives. We'll create fake radio signals that show humans doing ordinary things. Meanwhile, we'll be building our real strength in secret. The plan began the next day. All around the world, regular radio and TV signals were replaced with fake ones. These fake signals showed a peaceful Earth that wasn't doing anything special. At the same time, the real work moved underground or to the dark side of the moon. Where alien sensors couldn't see, Colonel Summers led teams that studied the alien ship technology. They learned how the Zilarian engines worked. They figured out how to copy some of their weapons. Every discovery was written down on paper and carried by hand to other research centers. No electronic messages were sent that aliens might detect. Dr. Blackwell still worked on communication, but in a different way. She studied the alien language more deeply and found patterns they had missed before. She worked with Dr. Alan Reeves, a quantum physicist, to create a new kind of communication system. Quantum particles can connect to each other across any distance, Dr. Reeves explained. If we can control them, we could send messages instantly to any place in the galaxy, and no one could listen in or even know we're talking. Their work was slow and difficult, but after a year they had a working prototype. 2 quantum communicators that could send messages to each other. They couldn't send much information yet, just simple codes, but it was a start. Meanwhile, Ryan Harris, a young engineer with wild ideas, worked on something even stranger. He studied how the alien ships bent light around them to become nearly invisible. Ryan thought humans could do even better. We don't need to just bend light, he told his team. We can cancel it out completely. True invisibility. Many people thought he was crazy, but Director Powell gave him the resources to try. After many failures, Ryan's team created their first invisibility shield. It was small, just big enough to cover a desk, but it worked. Anything under the shield completely disappeared from sight. The Council aliens sent scout ships to check on Earth every few months. They scanned for signals and watched human activities, but all they saw were normal cities, normal radio signals, and normal human behavior. They didn't see the new bases being built under the ocean. They didn't detect the factories on the moon. They had no idea that humans were preparing for something big. 3 years passed this way. Earth looked peaceful and primitive to outside observers, but underneath that false image, humanity was changing fast. They had built their first real space fleet, hidden in bases on the dark side of the moon. They had developed new weapons based on Zilarian technology, but with human improvements. And they had created communication and invisibility systems that even the Galactic Council didn't have. In a secret meeting deep under the Rocky Mountains, Director Powell spoke to the world. Leaders. The Council has reduced their monitoring of Earth, she said. They think we're a failed case, a primitive species that rejected their help and now just lives quietly on our own planet. This is our chance. Admiral Carter, older now with gray in his hair, asked the question everyone was thinking. Are we ready to reveal ourselves? To show the Council what we've really been doing? Not yet, said Director Powell. But we're ready for the next step. It's time to reach out to other aliens, ones who might not like the Council either. Nathan. Miller had been studying the data from the alien monitoring devices that humans had found on Earth. He had learned that not all aliens in the Council got along. Some races, like the Klenar, often argued with the Zilarians about how to treat new species. The Klenar have a border outpost near our solar system, Nathan explained. If we send a ship there, we could talk to them directly, without the Council knowing. The plan was risky. If the Council caught a human ship so far from Earth, they might see it as a threat. But the potential reward was worth the risk. Earth needed allies among the stars. They chose Captain Samantha Brooks to lead the mission. She was young but smart and calm under pressure. Her ship would be the Nightingale, the first human vessel built with full invisibility technology. The night before the mission launched, Dr. Blackwell gave Captain Brooks a special device. This is our newest quantum communicator, she explained. It can send simple messages instantly across any distance. If you get in trouble, send the emergency signal and we'll know right away. Captain Brooks nodded. Let's hope I don't need to use it. The Nightingale left Earth the next day, completely invisible to any watching eyes. Its mission: find the Klenar and make a deal that would change humanity's place in the galaxy. As the ship vanished into the darkness of space, Director Powell looked up at the stars. The silent years are almost over, she said quietly. Soon, the Council will learn what happens when you underestimate humans. The Klenar border outpost floated in space like a giant silver flower. It had 5 petal-shaped sections that rotated slowly around a central hub. Alien ships came and went from the docking areas. Some were large cargo vessels, others were small private crafts. None of them noticed the invisible human ship watching from a safe distance. Captain Samantha Brooks studied the outpost through the Nightingale's advanced sensors. She had been observing for 3 days, learning the patterns of ships and security. I think we're ready, she told her crew. We'll approach during their shift change when traffic is heaviest. Keep the invisibility shield active until we're close, then drop it and send our greeting message. The crew looked nervous but determined. They had trained for years for this moment. Jack Rivera, the communications officer, prepared the message Dr. Blackwell had created. It used some Klenar language mixed with universal math symbols that any advanced species would understand. The Nightingale moved silently toward the outpost, completely invisible to all sensors. When they were just a few miles away, Captain Brooks gave the order, drop the shield and send the message. Suddenly, the human ship appeared near the outpost. All activity around the station froze. Alarm lights flashed on the outpost surface. The message went out, playing on all frequencies. Greetings from Earth. We come in peace and wish to speak with the Klenar people. For several tense minutes, there was no response. The human crew waited nervously. Captain Brooks kept her face calm, but her hands gripped her chair tightly. Finally, a voice answered in broken human English. Unknown vessel. Your appearance is ... unexpected. Identify your species and purpose. We are humans from the planet Earth, Captain Brooks replied. We wish to establish direct relations with the Klenar, separate from Galactic Council oversight. Another long pause followed. Then a different voice spoke, this one smoother and more authoritative. Human vessel. You may dock at Bay 14? A diplomatic team will meet you. Your sudden appearance is most unusual. The Council informed us that humans did not possess deep space travel capability. Captain Brooks smiled slightly. The Council does not know everything about us. The docking went smoothly. Captain Brooks led a small team from the Nightingale onto the station. They wore simple uniforms with Earth's new symbol, a blue planet with stars surrounding it. The Klenar were tall aliens with purple skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. They had no hair, and their eyes were wide with silver pupils. The leader introduced himself as Chief Diplomat Venkor. This meeting is highly irregular, Venkor said as they walked to a meeting room. Humans are listed as a Level 3 developing species in Council records. Your ship should not be possible. The Council only knows what we allow them to see, Captain Brooks explained. For the past 3 years, Earth has been developing in secret. The meeting room had a large round table. The human team sat on one side, the Clanar on the other. Captain Brooks opened a small case and set a device on the table. It projected a hologram showing Earth's solar system and the new human bases and ships hidden throughout it. "This is what we've built while the Council thought we were doing nothing," she said. "We have technology that equals or exceeds Council standards in several areas." Venkor leaned forward, his silver eyes reflecting the hologram. "Most impressive. But why come to us? The Clanar are just one voice in the Council." "We know that the Clanar often disagree with the Zilarians about how to treat new species," Captain Brooks said. "We believe we could be valuable allies to each other." She explained the human proposal. Earth would share its unique technologies, especially the quantum communication and advanced invisibility systems, exclusively with the Clanar. In exchange, the Clanar would support Earth's petition to be recognized not as a member race of the Council, but as an independent galactic power. Venkor's eyes widened. "No new race has ever made such a request. The Council has procedures thousands of years old for bringing species into the galactic community. What you suggest breaks all traditions." "That's exactly why we need allies like you," Captain Brooks said. "The Zilarians and their supporters would never allow it. But with Clanar backing, other races might listen." The Clanar diplomats spoke among themselves in their own language. The humans waited patiently. Finally, Venkor turned back. "To them, your proposal is bold. The technologies you offer would greatly benefit the Clanar. And I must admit, your approach is refreshing after thousands of years of Council politics." He paused. "But there is risk. The Zilarians will not be pleased." Captain Brooks nodded. "We understand the risk. But consider this, if humans can develop this much in just 3 years of isolation, imagine what we could accomplish as your partners in the decades to come." That argument seemed to sway the Clanar. After more discussion, Venkor agreed to a preliminary alliance. They would send representatives to Earth to verify the technology, and if satisfied, would support Earth's petition at the next full Council meeting. As Captain Brooks prepared to leave, Venkor stopped her with a question. "There is something I do not understand. Why did humans reject Council membership? Most races eagerly accept the guidance and protection offered." Captain Brooks thought for a moment before answering. "Humans value our independence. We prefer to make our own mistakes and find our own solutions. We seek friends among the stars, not masters." Venkor made a gesture that might have been respect. "An interesting perspective. Perhaps the Council has grown too comfortable in its ways. Change can be valuable, even if uncomfortable." The Nightingale left the Clanar outpost the next day. Visible this time, and with an official escort of Clanar ships, the news spread quickly through secret channels. An unknown species had appeared with advanced technology and bold demands. The Clanar, always looking for advantages against their rivals, had allied with these newcomers. When the news reached the Zilarian leaders, High Counselor Zephyr immediately called for an emergency security meeting. The old alien skin had faded with age, but his voice still commanded respect. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his advisors. "Our observers report that humans are still using primitive combustion vehicles and simple digital communications. Yet now they appear at a Clanar outpost with technology that rivals our own." One of his advisors spoke carefully. "It seems we have been deceived, High Counselor. The humans must have been hiding their true activities." Zephyr's large eyes narrowed. "No primitive species has ever managed to hide from Council observation before. This changes everything. If they have advanced this far without guidance, what else might they be capable of?" For the first time in centuries, the Zilarians felt something unfamiliar, uncertainty about a younger race. The Council had always been the teacher, the guide, the controller of new species, but humans had broken that pattern. They had emerged from isolation not as students seeking admission, but as equals demanding recognition. The galaxy was about to change in ways no one had predicted. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was huge. The ceiling arched so high it seemed to disappear. 87 different alien species sat in curved rows that rose up like a giant bowl. At the center was a round platform where speakers stood. To address the council, Admiral William Carter and Dr. Olivia Blackwell walked slowly toward that platform. They were both in their 60s now, with gray hair and lined faces. They wore formal uniforms with Earth's star symbol over their hearts. Behind them came Captain Brooks and a small team of Earth's representatives. "I never thought we'd be back here," Carter whispered to Blackwell, "and certainly not like this." Blackwell nodded. 8 years ago, they thought we were primitives. Today, they'll learn how wrong they were. The chamber grew quiet as the humans took their place on the central platform. High Counselor Zephaner, now very old, even for a Zilarian, sat in the front row. His large eyes watched the humans carefully. "The Council recognizes the representatives from Earth," announced the Council speaker, a tall alien with skin like golden scales. "You may present your petition." Admiral Carter stepped forward. His voice was strong despite his age. "Honored members of the Galactic Council, we come before you today not as supplicants seeking membership, but as equals seeking recognition." A murmur ran through the chamber. "This was not how new species usually addressed the Council," Carter continued. 8 years ago, Earth rejected Council oversight. You believed we would remain isolated and primitive. Instead, we used that time to develop on our own terms. Today, we ask the Council to formally recognize the Terran Collective as an independent galactic power. The murmurs grew louder. Several alien representatives stood up in protest. The Council speaker called for order. "This is unprecedented," the speaker said. "New species must progress through established stages of development under Council guidance. What you ask breaks thousands of years of tradition." "Traditions can change," Dr. Blackwell replied. "We ask only that you judge us by what we have accomplished." She activated a holographic display that filled the air above them. It showed the technologies humans had developed during their silent years. The quantum communication system that worked instantly across any distance. The invisibility technology that hid entire ships from all sensors. Energy systems that were more efficient than anything the Council used. These advances were made in just 8 years without any outside help, Dr. Blackwell explained. They represent new approaches that even the oldest Council races have not explored. The alien representatives leaned forward, studying the displays with obvious interest. Even those who had seemed angry before now looked thoughtful. Next, Captain Brooks revealed something that shocked even the oldest Council members. During their years of silence, humans had not just been developing technology. They had been exploring and colonizing their own solar system. Hidden bases existed on Mars, several moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and even in the distant Kuiper Belt. All of these had been completely invisible to Council observation. "We did not wish to appear threatening," Captain Brooks explained, "but we needed to secure our home system before revealing ourselves to the galaxy again." The Council chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives argued that humans were dangerous and unpredictable. Others saw opportunity in alliance with such an innovative species. The Klenar representatives spoke strongly in favor of Earth's petition, as they had promised. After hours of debate, Dr. Kyle Bennett stepped forward to speak. He was a historian who had documented Earth's journey from first contact to the present day. "Honored Council members," he began, "I have studied how your organization has welcomed new species for thousands of years. Your approach is based on mentorship and guidance. This has worked well for many races, but humans are different." He showed images from Earth's history. Humans overcoming challenges, adapting to new situations, solving problems in unexpected ways. "Our strength comes from our diversity of thought and our drive to find our own solutions," Dr. Bennett explained. "The Council's approach to new species assumes they need protection and control, but sometimes growth comes from facing challenges directly." As Dr. Bennett finished speaking, all eyes turned to High Counselor Zephaner. As the leader of the Zilarians and one of the most powerful voices in the Council, his opinion would carry. Great weight. The old alien rose slowly from his seat. His once bright blue skin had faded to a pale shade, but his eyes were still sharp. In all my centuries of service to this council, Zithaner began, I have overseen the introduction of 17 new species to our galactic community. Each followed the path we laid out for them. Each accepted our guidance and protection, until humans. He looked directly at Admiral Carter and Dr. Blackwell. When you rejected our offer 8 years ago, I believed you had chosen a path of isolation. And slow development, I was wrong. A hush fell over the chamber. It was rare for a High Counselor to admit a mistake. Humans have shown us something important, Zithaner continued. Our ways are not the only ways. Our paths are not the only paths. In our long history of guiding younger races, we have never encountered a species that thrived on challenge rather than compliance. We mistook humanity's defense of their autonomy as primitive stubbornness rather than the core strength it represented. He turned to address the entire council. I propose that we recognize the Terran Collective as an independent galactic power, not as a member race requiring guidance. Let us form new relationships based on mutual respect rather than the old patterns of teacher and student. The vote that followed was unanimous. Earth would not join the Galactic Council as a member race. Instead, they would relate to it as an equal independent power. As the human delegation prepared to leave the chamber, Ambassador Krelvox approached Dr. Blackwell. He looked older than when they had last met years ago. You have changed the council, he said quietly. For the first time in thousands of years, we are questioning our most basic assumptions about how to welcome new species to the galaxy. Dr. Blackwell smiled. Sometimes the best thing a teacher can do is learn from the student. We lost the opportunity to guide your species, Krelvox replied. But perhaps the galaxy has gained something more valuable, a truly different perspective. Admiral Carter joined them. This is just the beginning. There's a whole galaxy out there, and humans are eager to explore it. And we will be watching with great interest, Krelvox said. Though this time we will ask permission first. The human ships left the council station the next day. Heading back to Earth, they carried news of humanity's new status in the galaxy. No longer isolated, no longer seen as primitive, but recognized as equals among the stars. Earth's journey had not followed the path the Galactic Council had designed over thousands of years of experience. Humans had found their own way, created their own future. And that, perhaps, was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to surprise not just others, but themselves. As Admiral Carter looked out at the stars from his ship's window, he thought about the strange journey that had brought them here. It had begun with a misunderstanding about water and sovereignty. It had nearly led to war. But in the end, it had forged a stronger, more united humanity ready to take its place among the stars on its own terms. The Galactic Council's regret over losing humanity had become the galaxy's gain. A new era was beginning, one where old patterns could change and new relationships could form. The future was unwritten, and humans were ready to help write it.